This extension is similar to extension number 1, so make sure you have done extension number 1 first before you do this one. So on each of these pages, you're given a parent graph, and from here you're going to do different changes, and you need to adjust based upon what you're given. So in this one, number 1, I'm just given that I want f of x plus 4. So we know that f of x plus 4 is going to add 4 to the y values. So add 4 to these, put those there. There's no inside changes, so these are going to stay the same. Then, once you've filled the table in, I want you to graph it. It should be a graph similar to this one, but up 4. So you can write translated or shifted up 4. And then the domain and range will slightly change. The range will change by going up 4, so that you'll add 4 here and you'll add 4 there, but the domain should stay the same because there's nothing that happened to the x's. Okay. Later on, though, you're given different information. On this one, you're told that the parent graph has flipped over the x-axis. So all you need to do is take all of these points, and if they're below the x-axis, it flips that many spaces above. If it's on the x-axis, it stays. If it's below, it flips above, and if it's above, it flips below. So you're going to draw this thing flipped over the x-axis here. It should change all your y values to be opposite. So they should all be the opposite sign here. But your x's stay the same. Your rule will look like f of x, but since you flipped, we're going to do something like that. Okay. And then you're going to want to, again, do the domain and range here. On this one, we are given a table. So you want to graph the table and then describe what happened to this one based upon how this table is different from this table, and then write the rule. So one thing I can see is I can see that the y's are the same, but the x's went from -3 to 0, from -1 to 2. It looks like I added 3 to the original x's, which means I went to the right 3. So my description would be right 3, but I know when I show that as a function, I actually put -3 here. Okay, so graph this on here, describe the domain and range, and so on. And this is similar to what you want to do down here. Down here, I'm given the picture, record the table. How is this picture different than the original piece? Secondly, how did the domain and range change, and what's the description, and what's the rule? And then lastly, I've given you a domain and range. This question has actually multiple answers that could work, but if you were to use this domain and this range to have this sort of picture, the original parent picture, what would be the description and what would be the new rule? And you want to do something similar on the back page.